Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about the NYXI Warrior controller. And this is a GameCube style controller that's been out for a little while now, but what really makes it exciting for this timeline of right now is because of the Switch 2. And if you saw the news on the Switch 2, you'll know that there is an expansion pack that's coming exclusively for the Switch 2 with GameCube games that you can play on there as long as you have that online pass. What makes this really cool is that you're going to be able to use this with the Switch 2. And that's going to be a controller that you can use with any of your other devices. So you can use it with PC, you can use it with the GameCube, you can use it with the Wii, and we'll go over some features with that right away. Now, full disclosure, NYXI did send this to me to play with, and so I have been playing with it for the last little while here, and I wanted to give you my review, my experience on this. If you would like to pick one of these up, there will be a link in the description. But this is something that they did send me. So I did not pick this up on my own, but I totally would. And so that's where we're going to get to today. Now, what makes this controller the go-to for a GameCube style controller if you're looking to pick one up? Well, again, like I mentioned, with the Switch 2 and the GameCube emulation that's going to be there, this is going to be a controller that you can use for that and get that experience and nostalgic feel like you did if you were playing with the original GameCube. And this device is very similar to the wavebird. So if I pull up the wavebird, because I do have one, you can see from a size standpoint, it's very comparable. It is a little bit of a wider stance, but it's very comfortable and again, comparable. You've got the buttons in the back. If you want to program those, you also have the adjustable triggers. And these are Hall effect triggers, so you can adjust them to that short or the long press, which is pretty neat on this device. The other thing, and again, the buttons. So you can program these. You can't do this on a regular GameCube controller, but you can do it on this controller. So that's going to make it pretty unique on here. The other thing that you might have noticed is that you have this classic GameCube 8 points, and this one has rounded points, but you also have the option to use the 8 points. So it's really easy to take this off. You just have to spin it and then pull it off, and then you can swap out that part, and you can also swap out the joysticks. So if you want to swap out to a regular size stick on this side, you can do that instead of using the little stub. But I actually kind of like the stub. It takes me back. So I've been using it with this one, and again, the rounded, just because if you haven't used the GameCube controller with the 8 points in a while, it's kind of weird going back to it, but I do like just having that option to do either with the interchangeable face. Now, the buttons on the front are clicky. These are micro switches. And same thing with this, micro switches. These are mechanical buttons. They've got that click. And again, Hall effect for the triggers. These are Hall effect joysticks, so you can expect no drift. Really nice to have. And then the connectivity on here is just really intuitive. So I've found that even without using the instructions to figure out how to connect it, I was able to connect it no problem, whether it was to the GameCube, whether it was for Bluetooth to my PC, or even using the dongle. So let's talk about the dongle, because that's an exciting piece. This fits into a GameCube, and this is the wavebird one. So you can see from the size, it is a comparable size. Again, same ports, same design. This is your pair button on the front. And so what you do is you just plug it in, and it works. Like once you pair both devices, it'll connect. It works automatically. You just push the button, it detects that it's in there, and then away you're playing your GameCube games. Now, if you want to use it with a PC or another Bluetooth device like the Switch, you can pair it through Bluetooth and run it that way. Or if you want to have that 2.4 wireless, what you do is use the short cable that comes in the box, and you plug it into the USB, and then this becomes your dongle. And so then you can pair it right to this. And that's the way that I've been using it with the PC, just to have that lower latency connection. And that's going to be really handy to have, again, to have that lower latency connection. Now you can also plug it into the Wii. And your Wii might look a little different. I've got mine reshelled. And on the Wii, if you have these ports for the GameCube, again, you can just slot this in, and now you can play your GameCube games with this controller on the Wii. And that's what's going to make this really unique from other options on the market. Either you're paying a lot for a used wavebird, or you're getting a third-party unit that can only connect to the GameCube, or you're getting a GameCube designed one that's for the Switch or Bluetooth that works with the PC, but you don't have the option to just like actually connect it to a legitimate GameCube. And that's really the feature that makes this thing stand out the most, is that you can use this for the retro. So this actually gave me a reason to pull out my GameCube again, and I was playing some Mario Kart Double Dash. I'll show you some gameplay of that towards the end of the video, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to be able to play this. I enjoyed playing it instead of the wavebird. I don't need to pull out batteries and run it with this, or look at which connection dongle I'm on and make sure that it's set right for here. It just pairs and it works. And if you don't like having these buttons back here, you can just flick this switch, pull this off, and then switch it to this cover. And so there's a little hook there. You snap it in. Now you have no buttons. So you don't have to worry about hitting those by mistake. But if you do like having those button options, now you do. And it's an easy swap to get that back in. And you've got buttons again. Now, if you're using this with the Nintendo Switch, it does have the wake feature, so you can use that to wake up your Nintendo Switch, which is good because some controllers you can't do that with. With this one, you can. It also has HD rumble, so it does provide an enhanced vibration. You can't change the vibration, though. That's something that I wish I could adjust on here. I know with the Switch, you can turn off vibration, so that is something, if you don't like it, you can turn it off on there. I don't know how you would turn that off on the GameCube. I don't think that's an option. But it did rumble on the GameCube. I noticed that while I was playing Mario Kart Double Dash. The other things that you get in the box are the instructions, which again, you can use this to figure out how to link and pair your devices. The other thing is a cable, and that's just to wire it. So if you want to wire it to any of your devices, you can do that too. This is also what you're going to use to charge. And then the charging lights up right here. That's how you're going to see if it's charging. It'll start flashing green, and then it just turns off once it's done charging. Now, can I recommend this remote? And I definitely can if you want to have that nostalgia feel. And I've, again, really enjoyed it. It's brought me a lot of joy playing with this. And I can definitely recommend it if you want to have that nostalgic vibe of the GameCube, if you want to have this type of controller for the Switch too, especially with, again, that GameCube emulation that's coming out to Nintendo Online. And if you're using it for the PC, you can use it for emulation. You know, if you want to have the Switch layout, it is a challenge a little bit to get used to the buttons because it does pair as an Xbox controller to the PC. So all the buttons are literally swapped when you look at an Xbox controller. This is one of my custom Xbox controllers that I modified, so you can see, you know, A and B are flipped around and X and Y are flipped around. So it's not too bad when you're looking at the game and you're not looking down, and you just get used to it and adapt accordingly. The controller does have gyroscope too, so if you do use that feature, it's something that it does include in it. It says the charge time is 2.5 hours, and again, you get about 10 hours of play, so the battery is a little bit lower on this thing, but again, you're buying it because of that nostalgia. So if you're picking one of these up, it's really because you want to have that GameCube-like experience, and this is going to give you the most options for compatibility than any other controller that I've seen on the market for the GameCube style. I did notice, you know, GameStop has a controller similar to this on their shelves. It's actually very comparable in the price point, but you can't use it for GameCube. It doesn't have the, you know, faceplate where you can change out the rings on it and the joysticks. So there's features on here that you can't get on other controllers. And that's what makes it really unique and enticing. For, again, the people who are looking for a GameCube-like experience. If I hadn't been sent one by NYXI, I would have picked one up myself. This is sweet, especially with that announcement for the Switch 2. I would have looked this up immediately, and I've actually looked at this controller before and just picked one up proactively because I want to have that GameCube experience and that nostalgia that I felt with the original GameCube, but with the upgrades on having it with the Switch 2. Thank you, NYXI, for sending me this to play with. It is so cool, and I've had, again, a really good experience and a lot of fun playing with this device. Connectivity, really easy. Don't have to use the manual if you're used to just like connecting controllers. It's all that standard, basically hold and press and link, and it's really straightforward. I really appreciate the user friendliness and compatibility of this controller and the GameCube style. Really cool. If you want to pick one up, again, the link is in the description. This review is really intended to be helpful, and I hope it was. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll leave you out with some gameplay. So enjoy, and take care till the next one. Because the buttons are sized differently, like you can kind of feel out which one you're pushing. It makes it a little bit easier when they're not in the right order of a regular Xbox controller where you'd have X, Y, and then A and B.